Hey guys, welcome to Denny's. Today we're going to hop into my Ajax build. Now, more specifically, we are going to be talking about a farming or mobbing build with Ajax. This is the most fun that I've had probably in the first Descendant, and I really hope you guys enjoy it. We are going to be going into some gameplay loops. We're going to be going into obviously all the mods, components, reactors, so definitely stay tuned. And I do want to mention, guys, before I get started, we are live on Twitch 5 days a week. Come check it out. But we are also running a Ultimate Freyna Premium Bundle giveaway on October 10th. If you guys don't know about that, you can check out the video link in the description, and that is going to give you all the details you need if you want a chance at winning the Ultimate Freyna Premium Bundle. When I'm going to be giving it away live on October 10th at 12 p.m. But again, all the details will be on how to enter and how to win are going to be in that video down below. I hope you guys enjoy the video, but let's get into it. Okay, so let's talk about the Descendant modules for the build. So first and foremost, the mod we're going to be playing everything into, the Transcendent mod of choice, is going to be Void Charge. So modifies Void Walk and expulsion damage to increase proportionally to death. Using an enhanced skill, resets Void Charge to 1 stack. So you get the 2 charges of Void Charge, and you also change the expulsion ability to Dimension from Tech. So kind of a negative on the expulsion side, because obviously we want to do more tech damage with our Reactor. However, it really doesn't matter, because that ability is doing a lot of damage regardless. It's doing 1000% skill power damage. This is basically making it so whenever we use our enhanced ability, make sure you're always using it on your second ability. It's going to instantly reset the cooldown if you didn't have any up back to 1 charge of the second ability. So you'll be able to absolutely spam with that. So that is why we're using Void Charge, and it is basically buffing our second ability and our enhanced to second ability to do just a bunch more cast, which means a bunch more damage, and you're just spamming, having a great time doing it. So we're going to go over the mods as well. So Nimble Fingers and MP conversion, as well as focus on non-attribute and focus on tech. So obviously all of our cooldown mods right there. It doesn't really matter about the MP lost, because we have the MP collector and a good amount of max MP with our components that we'll be talking about. So all those are the cooldown mods. We want to try to get them as low as possible. And then the big quality of life to this build is going to be skill effect range. So we do have skill effect maximize range and then skill expansion. Those are going to give us our max range paired with multi-talented. Whenever we are using our void charge ability, which you want to make sure to proc multi-talented with your void charge ability more often than the dimension one, and I'll explain that. So basically, the max expandable range is 300%. We can get 286.7% with the range mods, and then we are going to be getting the extra 15% that we need from multi-talented. Whenever we use a tech ability, it increases the skill effect range and the power modifier by 15% for 5 seconds. So we're basically getting max range just by using multi-talented. The other benefit to using multi-talented is the other 3 abilities you have are all dimension, and the one we're going to be spamming more is expulsion, obviously. So whenever you want to get that 20% cooldown reduction and just be able to absolutely spam your abilities, you're going to want to use that ability. So multi-talented is a god tier mod for this build, in my opinion. I think it's an absolute must-have for mobbing and having fun and just spamming. It's really, really fun with multi-talented. We are using increased HP and Spear and Shield for our tankiness. So Spear and Shield, completely up to you if you actually want to do this. Obviously, you can run another defense mod if you want a bit more defense. I just want a bit more damage. I think whenever we are running the harder content, it's probably going to be worth it to grab a little bit of defense so we're not dying. However, we are very tanky in this build, and we do quite a bit of damage. So yeah, very good choices there. Obviously, a little bit extra skill power and then max HP. And then we have to run MP Collector. Now, when you're in a group, importantly enough, this is the one that I would change to Energy Collection. Always, always, always change the MP Collector to Energy Collection whenever you're in a group. Obviously, Energy Collection giving us the 57.7% MP recovery. And with that, we'll be able to spam more and not have to worry about the, MP, and then you can just pick up those MPs off the ground. You'll get a ton of MP from them when you're using MP recovery or energy collection, excuse me. So super solid there. And then as you can see, we have put 11 sockets into the build. So we've got all 10 in the main, and then the long distance maneuvering has been buffed up. So you don't need the 11th sub socket to be socketed. It's just that I have it because I want to eventually work on Ajax and add more builds. I always like to add that because of OCD, but you absolutely don't need the sub module of choice to be socketed. Just so you guys know, this cap is absolutely doable without that extra 5 that you get from that. It is nice to have though. Okay, now let's talk about components. So components, Now, obviously the component set of choice for when you are trying to do as much damage as possible, it's going to be Slayer. Obviously, the skill cost is increased by 15%, but you get that 26% skill power. It's just unbeatable right now. This just does so much extra damage. It's ridiculous. You're going to want to run Slayer for basically all types of content, unless you are not tanky enough. If you are not tanky enough, it really does not matter what set you run. You just want to make sure to have def and HP as much as you can, as well as max MP on your sensor. But just take off that Slayer set. For me, I'd literally just run as many non-set ultimates that have HP and def with the max rolls of their respective stats. So, max MP, def on the memory, HP on the aux power, etc., to get as much tankiness as possible. But we're going to be running Slayer as far as the most damage we can deal. And honestly, you are still very tanky because Slayer comes with a lot of def and max HP. You can get obviously def on your memory, you can get max HP on your aux power, and your processor comes with max HP as well on the Slayer. So not a bad set. You do more damage. It is pretty tanky, but not as tanky as you can be. So if you want more tankiness, definitely hop over to get some ultimate mods, or excuse me, ultimate components with those rolls on them. And then let's talk about the reactor. So the reactor, now I have a secret garden mounted. Secret garden mounted is the most important bit of the reactor. You want to make sure you have the secret garden mounting. Obviously, we'll go over the weapon after the reactor, but we are going to be going over what we are going to be going for as far as substat rolls on the reactor. So we want a tech, non-attribute, obviously, reactor with secret garden mounting for the mobbing setup here. And then we are going to go with, personally me, I'm going to go with cooldown and tech skill power boost ratio. I think that's just the best way to go. You could go range if you don't want to run multi-talented, get that extra, 20-30% range, or I think it's 15% range you need with the range. You could absolutely do that. You could also go tech and non-attribute if you wanted to, or tech and dimension if you want to do a little bit more damage with your third ability, which isn't really that important. But my role is going to be cooldown reduction as well as the tech skill power boost. That is the god roll in my opinion for this build specifically, and that is what I will be chasing whenever I'm going for the roll. Right now, currently, I have a tech skill power boost and a skill effect range buff. So my multi-talented is kind of not really doing any extra for the range, but it is giving me the cooldown and the skill power modifier at 15%. But nonetheless, reactor, pretty straightforward. Secret guard mounted, tech skill, cooldown reduction. You want non-attribute and tech. Okay, now to talk about the weapon, leaping over from the reactor. So obviously Secret Garden, you've got the unique ability with Secret Garden. I want to emphasize you probably shouldn't use this unless it's maxed out because it's giving you a 20% skill cost increase if it is not maxed out. But we're using a ton of tech abilities, and we're also using dimension abilities. So we can get our custom resource with a set chance of 39% whenever we use our dimension abilities. And then we are spamming our Void Walk. So we are constantly at 3 stacks of Pest Control, which is giving us a giant skill power buff using the Secret Garden. It is by far the best weapon you can have in your hands while you're running Ajax. And then if you want to see the mods that I have for it, you can see on screen what I'm using. Mainly just a combination of buffing its crit and then adding some extra weak point damage for the very end of the damage input there. The sheet DPS is just completely incorrect with this. This is pretty much the best way to get the most damage that you can out of Secret Garden, in my opinion. This is going to get you a ton of damage out of Secret Garden, and you will be able to melt things with this. If you're not spamming your, if you want to kill a boss and you're not spamming your abilities, obviously you can press your third ability on Ajax after you've enhanced it to get that 10% firearm ATK, and then just go to town with this guy. And this will definitely do very well. But the main reason we are using it, again, is just for the Pest Control unique ability, giving us a giant skill power buff whenever we are at 3 stacks, and you're just doing a ton of damage with this build. The one thing I do want to go off, apart from all the Descendant Modules, reactors, and components, I do want to mention with this build, we do have the new modules coming out on October 10th. So we're going to see some skill power buff, and we're going to see a firearm ATK module. As far as what I would change on it, so I would probably be removing multi-talented, maybe it really depends. Probably multi-talented to put in the new skill power buff, depending on how strong it is. I really like multi-talented, but it's only giving us a 15% modifier whenever we're using tech skill. The cooldown is so nice to have, especially when we get these 400% dungeons. To be able to absolutely spam both abilities in the 400% dungeons, you're just going to be doing so much damage, and we're going to need a lot of damage. So yeah, I think that I would change multi-talented for the new module when it does come out for the increased skill power. And then people talk about this build with crit. I don't think it works with crit. It's pretty much impossible because Ajax's crit is so low. It's at 5% base rate. And if you build the 4 crit modules or even 2, you're wasting potential cooldown, you're wasting range, you're wasting your energy collection, you're wasting so much, in my opinion. So I don't think that crit is good at all for this. I think that you never want to run crit on this, and it is a blast to just do regular this build regularly. But yeah, that's what I would change when the October 10th mods come out, and then we will hop into as far as the gameplay loop. So for the gameplay loop, obviously you'll see in the background footage, the biggest thing I have, there's some advanced tech. What you can do is you can grapple, and if you grapple followed by jump and then immediately press your void walk or your leap, as soon as you press that jump, you're actually going to go flying way further than you normally would with just a regular old jump leap. So you can jump and then leap to go very far. But if you grapple jump leap, again, that's grapple jump leap, you can go extremely far. You'll see me do it a few times in the background footage, and you can clear some insane ground in just one leap and grapple to get to where you need to go, or leap, or however. It's just a lot of fun, honestly. But the gameplay loop, literally, you're just spamming your first or your second and third abilities. The main thing I'm going to say is if you're doing this in 400% infiltration dungeons or any kind of hard content where you need to do damage quick, you are going to want to press your dimension, your third ability, to proc the 20% cooldown of multi-talented, so you can just start absolutely spamming all the abilities. However, you will be MP starved if you do this, so just keep that in mind. But we're mainly going to be just spamming Void Walk around and just destroying everything. It's very, very straightforward build, very fun build, and I can't wait for you guys to try it out if you haven't already. It's one of my favorite builds. It's the most fun that I've had on Ajax, and it's probably the most fun that I've had in the game. I think at first Bunny was really fun, but this build is just so much more enjoyable. Leaping around, I feel like, is so much better than just running around. Obviously, it adds that extra element of verticality. And yeah, it just does a lot more damage than Bunny. The only downside is we can't go as fast as Bunny, obviously, but I would argue that Ajax is about 80% the speed of Bunny. You can really get going, and you can really clear stuff pretty quick with Ajax. He's definitely a very, very solid secondary farmer. If you do want to go Ajax for farming, it's absolutely viable to do so. The only difference is obviously we don't have the burst damage that high voltage gives us, or Bunny's fourth ability gives us. We've got to rely on our weapon for the burst damage. So obviously you can build out Enduring Legacy. You can build out, a really good sniper, whatever you want to do to get that burst damage. Just know that we're not going to get a lot of our burst damage from our abilities. It is going to be from the weapon that we are holding. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you guys are having a good week, good day. I hope you guys are excited for the 10th. Don't forget to like the video if it helped. Comment feedback you've got from me down below. Please, guys, check out the giveaway. We're doing a premium Ultimate Freyna giveaway. There's going to be a link in the description to the video, and then you guys can have a chance at winning the premium Ultimate Freyna bundle on October 10th. All the details are in that video. But yeah, I hope you guys have a good one. I am out of here. Peace out. Goodbye.